Salvete omnes. If you'd like to support the channel along with these patrons, there's a link in the description box below. The name Julius in Julius Caesar is not actually what we think of as a first name, because Roman names are a little different than what we're used to. Roman men had at least two names, and usually more than that. They all had the praenomen and nomen. The praenomen is the given name. This is the name chosen by the parents of a child. The praenomen for the man we know as Julius Caesar was Gaius. The Julius Caesar part is like our surnames in that it would pass to his children, although only the males. Julius is the nomen, and Caesar was known as a cognomen. One's nomen distinguished which gens or clan one belonged to. So Gaius Julius Caesar belonged to the clan Julii. And there were also other clans among the patricians like Claudii, Tullii, and Marcii. And because each gens or clan was large, the cognomen helped distinguish people from one another since so many names were shared. The cognomen specified a particular branch of the gens, or were given to a person because of a personal characteristic or heroic exploit. Not all of which were pleasant. For example, balbus means lisping or stuttering, while cursor meant runner. So the patricians or the ruling class usually had three names, known as the tria nomina. During the beginning of the Republic, there were only about 30 praenomina that were used, and really only about 18 were common, as shown here. This is because the Romans had the tradition of naming the eldest son after his father, and the other sons after the father's brothers or other male ancestors. So the praenomina emphasized the continuity and exclusivity of a gens over the generations. For example, the Julii tended to use the names Gaius, Lucius, Sextus, and Vopiscus. And indeed, Gaius Julius Caesar was the name of the famous general, his father, his grandfather, and many of his cousins, as well as descendants, as we'll see. The naming conventions of women reflects that they were thought of as second class in Roman times, because the daughters would generally be given a name that was a feminized form of the father's nomen. For example, the daughter of Julius Caesar would have been called Julia. And if there was more than one daughter, they would either be called Julia Major and Julia Minor, or given numbers like prima, secunda, tertia. And they generally used the genitive form of their father's or husband's cognomen if they needed to be further distinguished. So continuing our example, his daughter could have been called Julia Caesaris if there was another Julia in their circle of friends. Lastly, some Romans acquired more names, known as the agnomen, or added name. These were usually given to people to distinguish them from people with the same name, but also for heroic exploits. For example, the Roman general Publius Cornelius Scipio was awarded the agnomen Africanus for his heroism in the Punic Wars. So his name became Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. But sometimes the agnomen completely replaced a person's name, as was the case with Caligula, who was also born Gaius Julius Caesar in honor of his famous relative. So which name did the Romans use? With their family, close friends, and regular clients, praenomina were used. However, with people outside this circle, the nomen was used, or a combination of their names, if the nomen alone wasn't enough to distinguish them from other people. If you'd like to support the channel, be sure to share on social media and check out Patreon, where there are audio downloads and transcripts of each story.